Hello, everybody. Welcome back. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door and join us for our preview and prediction show and the return of the Championship. You love to see it. It's international break number 3 we've just had, but we are back, ready for round number 18 in the Championship. Hopefully you can help me remember what was happening a couple of weeks ago. I've done my research, but, it was a long time 2 weeks ago. I hope you've all had a good break. Welcome back, everybody. Do say hello in the chat. But most importantly, in this show, we need your predictions. We need your thoughts, detailed or not, on how you think this latest round of games is going to go. We do have first versus 24th. And second versus 23rd in this round. So I think the start of this show is going to be quite kind on us. But as always in the Championship, anything can happen. And we know that there will be a few surprises. Let's say thank you as ever to Football 365, who are our partners here. All of my Championship writing. I've been doing it this morning. In fact, we'll be going up on Football 365 ahead of round 18. We've done the preview for Sheffield United and Coventry, that'll be up. We've done the big weekend, the full preview as well. They'll be up. I think one of them might be going up today. So do check out football365.com and follow them on Twitter as well. Follow me as well at Benjamin Bloom. Football365 is at F365. Everything is tweeted up there. And of course, our friends Betfair as well. And the combination of the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel, Betfair and Football365 gives us the fabled Championship predictor game. Go and get involved over there. We put our money where our mouths are over here on the channel. Get your predictions in. Sign up with your email address over on Football 365. And for each one of those predictions, betfair.com will give you the odds of what you have predicted. If you want a little tipple over the weekend, of course, that is negotiable. 18 plus only. Please gamble responsibly. BeGambleAware.org. Shall we get into this? Let's say some hellos, shall we? Let's say hello to Hamza, Ewan, Cole, OJ, TJ, with a parrot on his shoulder. Very nice. Jake, Ross, Gaza, Mark, another Mark, Jack. Thank God the international break is over. Jimmy, am I going to butcher this name? Ifanyi, sorry if I've butchered your name there. Mr. E, welcome. Peter, Stephen, JC. Keep your hellos coming. I'll leave it there for a second and we will get into this. Remember, you need two things in this show. You need your Joker card and you might want to play that at any point. You remember your Joker you may want to use on a surprise result. You don't have to, but it's helpful. You do need one of these, though. That is your 0-0 card. Please play that at some point. Statistically, we will have a 0-0. Although I think there was around a couple back, maybe 16, where we didn't get one. Last thing before we start, I promise you, we need to say thank you to the Donovan brothers, who are our fan sponsors for this show. They sponsor in memory of their dad, Dennis, and their brother, Mike, both sorely missed, cheering on Millwall from above. Thank you as ever to the Donovans, who have been our sponsors for a couple of seasons. Now, right, I have to write down the time code where we start because people request those sorts of things. And here we begin with top against bottom. Get your thoughts in, please. Derby versus Bournemouth. You can give me your detailed thoughts or you can just go Derby, draw, or Bournemouth. Derby, draw, or Bournemouth. Now, if you think first versus 24th is a big enough caveat, obviously, Derby are now 14 points adrift of Barnsley and 18 points adrift of safety, being they have just been deducted 9 points for profit and sustainability issues. We're not going to talk about them. Frankly, I'm done. I'm fed up of talking about that stuff. And I think the EFL are done with it as well. And so are Derby and the Derby fans. So minus 21 in total for Derby. How will they react? I do wonder. The good siege mentality from Derby last time when they went into administration. They then drew the next game, didn't they? No, they won the next game against Stoke with a bumper crowd over at Pride Park. Can they get some siege mentality here against Bournemouth? Get me your predictions in, please. Derby draw or Bournemouth? Derby draw or Bournemouth? Bournemouth are obviously very good, which is a big issue for Derby. Bournemouth are top of the table, already have got 40 points from only 17 games. So, frankly, if you're a Bournemouth fan, you're probably thinking, even if it's a disastrous last 29, probably still going to get in the playoffs. Only needs another, 35-ish points to get in the playoffs, you would think. Now, maybe a little bit more than that. On top of what they've got already. Let me get your predictions in, by the way. Derby draw or Bournemouth. So, look, the table has Bournemouth first, Derby 24th. The form has Bournemouth second, Derby 20th. Homes and aways, Bournemouth are the best away team in the division. And Derby are the 17th best home team. Bournemouth are within the top 6 for goals scored. Derby are within the bottom 6 for goals scored. And in terms of the XG, they're also miles apart. Every metric points towards a Bournemouth win. But this is the Championship, isn't it? Let's see what you lot are saying in the chat here. Where should we start? Here, we'll start with Alistair, who's gone Bournemouth. There's a draw in there. Bournemouth, yeah, you can play your joker on this one. Minus 21s, one top of League 2. Well, there you go. Derby 5-0. Really? Okay. Bournemouth. A few people playing the joker on this one. Is that the siege mentality of Derby? Cherries, Bournemouth. Hamza's got the 0-0 out and made a pretty good effort there with Elton John's glasses by the look at it. I'm going to be totally boring on this one and go with the numbers, I'm afraid. No siege mentality for me. No joker. Away! Let's go for a Bournemouth victory. I'm going to head over to the Football 365 predictor. I don't concede that many goals. Let's go for a 1-0 to Bournemouth. And you will get 5-1 over at Betfair on that one. And as usual, please gamble responsibly. And please also go and get involved, football365.com, and sign up for the Championship Predictor. Right, next up, Fulham versus Barnsley. Fulham versus Barnsley. Get your predictions in. Fulham, draw, Barnsley. Fulham, draw, Barnsley. You can give me your detailed thoughts, or just as simple as that. And again, like the last one, this is a hot favourite in this game, and that is obviously Fulham. Barnsley have a new manager in Poya Asbaghi, which I'll practice saying as we go, who is only 36 and was the previous Swedish under-21 manager. He's not going to start work, though, until Monday morning, apparently, though. So they've, given him a little bit of latitude. He doesn't have to go to Fulham and face Mr. Mitrovic and Mr. Wilson and all of those Fulham attacking players. Get your thoughts in. Fulham, draw, or Barnsley. Now, I don't know where you new manager bounce people sit on this one, because the old manager's gone. The caretaker manager's there and did win a game. The caretaker manager's still there, but the new manager's been announced. I don't know where and when the silly new manager bounce applies on this one, or if at all it's going to. It feels like Fulham are now closing in a bit on Bournemouth, despite Bournemouth being very, very good. And Fulham, just the goals for record is absurdly good. 44 goals. And Mitrovic looks like he's on course to break every single record ever invented in the history of records. Get your predictions in, guys. Fulham, draw, or Barnsley. Look, the table, it's second versus 23rd. The form table is first versus 23rd. These are all obviously in Fulham's favour. Homes and aways, fourth versus 23rd. Goals, again, you've got a top 6 scorer against the bottom 6 scorer. XG, Fulham are obviously, given how many chances they create, at top of the XG table, with Barnsley down in 21st. I suspect we'll get a couple of big scores into the bargain there. Let's see what you managers what you managers, what you people think here. Wayne, heavy Fulham. Boring again. Yeah, I'm going to do the same. I think Fulham, the most Fulhamish joker one could play. Nah, surely not. Fulham, easy game for the new manager. That's why they're giving him the afternoon off, OJ, I think, isn't it? Fulham to deflate the new manager bounce if such a thing exists. Fulham, draw. Mitro on the lash. So he's just going to score one goal if he's been on the lash rather than his normal 2 or 3. Fulham. Lellman's going to continue at the club. Well, that's good news. They need that continuity. Fulham. Everyone is heavy on Fulham. So look, I will do exactly the same then. You lot, and I will yell out the word home, and we will go for a Fulham victory. And look, I mean, what is the rate? Is it 2.5 per game? It must be around that they're scoring at the moment. Can they put another 3 up on the board? I wonder. I think maybe they can, can't they? So I'm going to go heavy on Fulham, like all of you lot. 3-0. Let's go 3-0 to Fulham. You will get 13-2. So not really even that big a price on that over at betfair.com. I am going to move on to Huddersfield versus West Brom. Get me your thoughts in on this one, or just a simple prediction. Huddersfield draw, West Brom. Huddersfield draw or West Brom. Bit of a sense that West Brom are a bit stodgy compared to where they were early in the season. I mean, the points total is very decent, 32 from 17. Unfortunately for West Brom, 2 of the other parachute teams are possibly zooming off into the distance, and a 6-point gap has opened up. In terms of the actual form charts, it's not that great for West Brom. They're 9th in the form table, and you think, okay, fair enough. But if you're going for the top 2 and current positions 1 and 2 are also 1 and 2 in the form table, 9th isn't really going to keep West Brom close. Although, hey, playoffs, you never know. In terms of Huddersfield, they're in 8th spot, and they've also tailed off a little. They're 14th in the form table. We expected a bit of a regression from Huddersfield. They were doing so well to be up there in 6th, but is it coming a bit sooner than we thought? And this is obviously a difficult game. Let me take you through all the bits and bobs. Get me your prediction in, guys. Huddersfield draw or West Brom? Huddersfield draw or indeed West Brom? So obviously West Brom have it by 5 in the table. In terms of the form, it's middling, but it does go with West Brom 9th to 14th. Here's an interesting one. Huddersfield are the 7th best home team. West Brom are the 7th best away team. I don't know if that evens it out. West Brom are in the top 6 for goals. The XG reads very well for West Brom. That would have them winning as well. Is there an underlying bit of a sense of West Brom just slipping behind Bournemouth and Fulham? I don't know. Let's see what you lot are saying in the chat on this one. 1-0 Huddersfield for Colm, a draw for Mark, a draw for Alistair and Ewan and Jack and Charlie and Jake. Interesting. Okay. I might buy into this draw narrative here. West Brom, draw. Huddersfield to start dropping off. Thomas had the misfortune, of watching Huddersfield against Cardiff. Cardiff. They look very poor. Have to go Baggies. Hamza, last 2 international breaks been poor afterwards. Still going to go for a win though. Just Gaza, funny one. Huddersfield look terrible, but get results at home. Interesting. Draw. And Stephen is all down to form. Going to give it to West Brom by 1. It's a difficult one. I do buy Hamza and Stephen's arguments, but you look quite heavy on a draw. I don't know. Do I want to go for all 3 of the top 3 to win? It has been happening fairly. Or has it? No, it hasn't. Happened once in the last 5 games where all 3 of them have won. I don't see West Brom losing. Go on then. You guys have convinced me here. Draw! Let's go for a draw. I'm going with the chat there, so I'm going to blame you lot when I'm totally wrong. It's all your fault. I can't take responsibility for my own predictions here. Huddersfield 1, West Brom 1 then. 5-1 on Betfair you will get for that one. I'm all in on the chat. Go and get involved in the Football 365 predictor game as well. We are going to move on to the early kickoff on Saturday, which is Sheffield United versus Coventry. Get your predictions in for me, please. Sheffield United, draw, or Coventry. Sheffield United, draw, or Coventry. And I've just written my preview piece for this, so I know all about this game. I've just done my research. Get your predictions in the comments for me. I've very much gone underachiever versus overachiever. Obviously, Coventry are the overachiever, up in 4th. Sheffield United down in 17th. I believe they've gone up a place thanks to Reading's points deduction without kicking a ball. A good start to the weekend for a few teams down. They're already moved up a position. Coventry, the narrative we've been saying is they're in 4th because of their superb home record where they got 22 points, only 8 points away. But they did win the last game at Hull. I think they've beaten Hull and Blackpool on the road. Can they capitalise on out of form Sheffield United? I don't know. The trend is still down for Sheffield United. And I've been, I'm big on Jokanovic and I do buy into the advantage that the extra finances that parachute teams have. But I've been wrong so far this season and it doesn't really appear to be coming round, does it, for the Blades? And they're still in 17th. And the recent form is not good. Let me give you the numbers here. So Cov 4th in the table. It's Cov by 13 if you look at the table. In terms of the form, Sheffield United 17th, Coventry 13th. So still goes with Cov. Homes and aways. It's the 18th best away record of Coventry versus the 19th best home record. So Sheffield United are in the bottom 6 in terms of home form this season. Goals, not much to write home about. Coventry just off the top 6 for goals scored. In the XG, Coventry are in the top 6. Sheffield United do outperform their league position in terms of XG. Look, will Jokanovic have them dancing a bit of a better tune after 2 weeks off? I don't know. Does that mitigate against Coventry's away form, which isn't as good as their home form? Hard one to call. Hard one to call. Let's see what you lot are saying. Colm 2-1 Blades. Paddy agrees. Gazza agrees. 2-1 Cov for Peter. Draw for JC. Would take a away point. Godden 90 plus 6 equaliser. Is that after Godden's won the penalty and then takes it himself as well, Thomas? Jack, Blades, Ewan, Cov, Jimmy, draw. Ollie, can't see much changing for us until Jan, if Slav can get some wingers. Classic away win. Coventry to Nick 1-0. Not confident there. Blades, Cov, draw. Yeah, hit that like button. Charlie, he's gone Coventry as well. Draw there. Cov, Blades not on script. He's going to play the 0-0. There you go. Not a lot of time for Jokanovic yet. Oh, God. Am I going to back Sheffield United again and get caught out? I think I'm going to. And Coventry will probably win and I'll look stupid again. So I'm going to have to play my joker because it's 17th versus 4th. Out comes the joker. Home. And I'm a bit of a joker. Keep thinking Sheffield United are going to come round. But I'm going to do it one more time. I'm going to go 2-1 Blades in this one. You get 7-1 over at Betfair. And I'm sure all Coventry fans will be very happy with that prediction because I always get Sheffield United wrong. But it's got to bounce back sometime, hasn't it? And given the disparity in Coventry's home and away form, I'll go for the Blades on this one. Sue me. Moving on. Next one up, guys. Stoke versus Peterborough. Get involved in this one, please. Stoke versus Peterborough. Give me your detailed thoughts, or just give me Stoke, draw, Posh. Stoke, draw, or Posh. Stoke 5th in the table, Peterborough 21st. We've the narrative has been in terms of Peterborough's away form being very bad. They did get that one away win, didn't they? Back-to-back wins, actually, didn't they? They won at Hull and then quickly beat QPR. The problem you've got here in terms of backing against Stoke is that Stoke are very good at home. Stoke are 5th in the table and they're 5th in the home table as well. Peterborough are bottom of the away table and don't score many goals, only 17. Also, the XG goes very heavily with Stoke as well. The only thing that pushes the two together, if you do want to argue it in Peterborough's favour here, form table, 16th Stoke, 18th Peterborough, but that Stoke form is based on the first half of the form table being bad. They've actually got 7 points in the last 3. I don't think we'll see Nick Powell back for a couple more weeks. Don't know how much closer Tyrese Campbell is, but I'm landing on Stoke on this one, I have to say. Let's see what you lot are all saying in the chat. Let's start with Alistair. Stoke, Colm, Stoke, David Draw, Peter Stoke, Ewan Stoke. Charlie's gone for his 0-0 on that one. Stoke for Jake, Stoke for Gaza, Stoke for OJ, comfortable one. For Paddy and Mark. Jimmy's gone the... actually, Jimmy's quite good on the prediction table, so take that joker seriously. He's gone for the posh. This has Stoke all over it. Winter Mums, there you go. Stoke are a betting nightmare. A. O'Shea is right. Yeah, good point. I didn't raise that. Harry Suter is he out for the season as well? Yeah, get well soon, Suter. Tom, Posh looked good against... Yes, they did actually. Yeah, I'll give you that as an argument. Picking Posh as the joker. Stoke 2-0. Glenn Stoke and TJ Stoke. Yeah, Charlie, nice to see you again, fella. Good to hear that treatment is going well. Stoke v Posh then. I'm doing it home. Let's go for a Stoke City home win on this one. Don't think Posh are going to score. So let's go 2-0 Stoke. Betfair will give you a 6-1 price on that one. Stoke to win 2-0. Let's move on. And next up, and this should be a good one, actually. I'd be interested to know what you guys are going to say about this one, is QPR versus Luton on Friday night on the TV. I'm out in the afternoon, so I may get back in time to watch along, but don't worry, it'll be covered in the review. A good Sky TV game, this one. This should be a good one, I think. Give me your thoughts. QPR, draw, or Luton? QPR, draw, or Luton? There's 5 places between them in the table, but a bit of a sense that might close up whichever direction as the season goes on, really. I don't think there'll be 5 places apart by the end of the season. Put it that way. So QPR in 6th, Luton in 11th. But you can flip that in the form. Luton are 6th in the form charts. QPR are 15th, actually, in the form table. And I think only 2 wins in the last 6. That seems low. Someone double-check that number for me that I've got that right. Luton, I think have got 10 points in the last 6. In terms of the homes and aways, it's very tight on this one. QPR are the 10th best team at home. Luton the 11th best team away. Not a lot in it. What we do know is both sides are in the top 6 for goals scored. So hopefully, I don't want to see anyone playing their 0-0 on this. I don't want to see Allardyce, not Allardyce, who do we have? Dyche and Warnock up there. XG goes in Luton's favour. So this is all very tight and we're expecting goals. Let's see what you lot are saying in the chat on this one. I think we're going to get some Desmonds, aren't we? That normally happens on this type of call. Let's dive in here with Jake, who's gone Luton. So has Hamza. Draw for Jamen. Peter's gone QPR. Glenn's gone QPR. There's the first Desmond. Draw. QPR. Jake, welcome. Finally managed to catch the stream. We're at lunchtime duty. Do you know what? I'll tell you what I'm doing tonight. I'm having a curry with the first professional band I joined back in 2006. We're all meeting up. The old get the band back together. I'm looking forward to that. So if you're in Great Dumno in Essex, I'll be down there later on. Draw for Jack. Both teams to score. Yeah, that sounds like a safe bet, doesn't it? Draw. QPR for Mark. Draw. Charlie's gone Luton. We love Luton around here, don't we, Charlie? Eh? 2-1 Luton. Welcome along, John. He's doing annoyingly well in the table there in the predictions. Get involved. Football 365. Draw. Another Desmond. Won't waste me 0-0 on that one, Gaza. No. Draw for Jimmy. Stephen is gone Luton. Kieran's played his 0-0 and Ollie's played his 3-3. There we go. White Hart Lane 2-1. Luton 2-0 from Montree. QPR 3-1, and Mr. Testosterone's gone. Rangers as well. What am I going to go for? I mean, the Desmond is the classic obvious with two sort of decent teams who both score and both concede. I don't know. I've got a strange hankering for Luton on this one. I've already played my Joker, so I can't play that, but there's only 5 places between. Do you know, I think I might go for Luton in a high scorer on this one. Go on then. Away. Is over 2.5 goals a high scorer? Let's go 2-1 Luton. And I'll likely fall on my sword and Warburton or Warburton me. And there we go. I'll always give you the caveat. But 2-1 Luton, you get a nice price on that one, actually. 10-1 over at Betfair on that one for Luton to go to QPR on Friday night and win 2-1. There's going to be goals, surely, for your Sky TV Friday night game. Right, let's move on. And it is Bristol City of the dreadful home record versus Blackburn of the good goal-scoring record. So read into that what you will. Bristol City really ended the last phase of games and went into the international break on a bad point, didn't they, with that turnaround 10-man win for Coventry. And just defeats galore, really, for Bristol City. 4 in 5. And Bristol City currently bottom of the form table, bottom of the 6-game form table. Get your predictions in, guys. Bristol City, draw, or Blackburn. The other big stat, and we've talked about this ad infinitum, haven't we? Bristol City are terrible at home, although they did get that home win finally, didn't they, against Barnsley. And they haven't been back since. So this is the first time back since. They're actually playing for back-to-back home wins, which is odd for Bristol City at the moment. Blackburn are decent. They're 7th in the table, but a couple of numbers do forecast a little trend down. They're 12th in the form table, 12th best away team, 11th on the XG. So maybe that evens up around 9th or 10th sooner rather than later. That stat that's really popping out at me is 28 goals. And obviously, Ben Brereton Diaz in very, very good form this season. So I don't know. I think I'm skewing towards Blackburn in this one. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. Here we go. 2-0 Rovers for Peter. There's the 0-0 for Gaza. Blackburn, draw. Blackburn. There's one for Bristol City from Saxbend. Blackburn, draw. City. There you go, Kieran. Blackburn, Pearson sacked. You would think Pearson will get in there and resign before anyone can sack him, wouldn't you? But we'll see. Blackburn away 2-1, says Mark. Blackburn, Nigel Pearson's side. I don't know what you mean, Mr. Testosterone. It is Nigel Pearson's side. Maybe you hit enter before you finish your comment there. Rovers looked great last time out. 3-1 away, says Ollie. Yeah, after they were smarting from that 7-0 against Fulham, but hey. Draw. 2-1. Curse broken, Bristol City there. City didn't do anything at home, Barnsley apart. Says Stephen. Blackburn. There's a few in there for Bristol City. Do you know, I can't see Bristol City winning, but I could see them not losing. I don't know. I just think Blackburn's goal power is going to do them in this one. Away. So I'm going to assume that, do you know what? Let's go for a silly one on this one. Let's try and boost the odds on Betfair. Let's go for 3-1 Blackburn. Bristol City 1, Blackburn 3. And you get a lovely old price on that one over on Betfair as my pen decides to run out midstream. 14-1. You'll get at betfair.com. So I should probably say, please gamble responsibly before I pick out a 14-1 shot. But let's go for Ben Brereton Diaz to fill his boots again. And a 3-1 to Blackburn. Moving on, and it's the return of Chris Wilder. I'll be interested to know everybody's thoughts on what Wilder's going to do and how he's going to set up against good old Gary Rowett and Millwall. Middlesbrough versus Millwall. Get your predictions in, please. Middlesbrough, draw, or Millwall. And it is the return of Chris Wilder Remember, last time he was here, he was pretty on it, wasn't he? Taking Sheffield United from League one season stabilising, and then that brilliant promotion in 18-19. Are we going to get the same Chris Wilder here? Are we going to get the 3-5-2? Are we going to get the big overloads either side of the penalty areas? I don't know. Is he the same guy after the relegation? Really, in his managerial career, he's only had half a bad season, hasn't he? And everywhere else, he's been superbly good. I don't know. What are we going to get? Get your predictions in, please, guys. Borough, draw, or Millwall. Borough, draw, or Millwall. Let me give you the numbers. Millwall have it by 5 places in the table. The form goes with Borough, 7-10 in that form table. Homes and aways goes with Millwall. Millwall are the 10th best away team. Borough are the 13th best home team. Millwall are not free scoring. They're in the bottom 6 for goals with only 17. Borough have only got 19, though. The XG does go with Borough, though. 8th against 12th there. So you can argue this all the way around and then predict a Gary Rowett draw at the bottom after you've said your piece. Let's see what you guys are saying. Anybody for a new manager bounce here? If we can call Chris Wilder a new manager. Right. Colm. 1-1. 2 out of the last 3 games at Borough have finished 1-1. Wilder's at the wheel. Yes, he is indeed, Matty. There's the new manager bounce. 2-0. Borough. Back to work for Ollie. Thank you for joining us, fella. Borough. Millwall. Borough. 0-0. Borough. Draw. Some Rowett draws all going in here from John, Jake, Jack, Mark, Saxbend. 1-0 Borough. A couple of more 0-0s here. Borough. Millwall Joker. Wilder taking a few players from Blades, or are they going to move on? We're going to see Steve Basham up at the Borough. Chris Basham. Sorry, Steve Basham used to play for Bournemouth back in the day. My bad. Borough there for Steve. Draw for Jake. Draw for Gaza. Win for Borough there. Borough, draw. New manager syndrome, says Steve. He's not calling it a new manager bounce. Borough. Millwall by 2, Jonathan. If Millwall win, it won't be by 2, will it? Be by 1. But hey, all predictions are allowed, Jonathan. So I stand up for your right to predict Millwall by 2. Let's quickly click on all of these. 1-1, Wilder. Nice guy. It is good to have Wilder back, but of course, I'm going to miss Neil Warnock, who was the outgoing manager. Go on then. I'm going to start bouncing here, and I'm going to buy into this narrative. New manager bounce home. Let's go for a Wilder win on his debut. Can we call it a 1-0? I don't think there'll be much in it. 2 low scoring sides. 1-0 Borough. You'll get 5-1 over at Betfair on that one. So for once, I'm not going for the higher side in the league table. Let's go for Wilder. So has he taken Alan Neil with him? I'm sure he has, to get the band back together. We'll see if John Fleck and Chris Basham arrive in the new year. Right, moving on. Game number 9. And get your thoughts in on Swansea versus Blackpool, please. Detailed thoughts, or just a simple Swansea draw or Blackpool. Swansea draw or Blackpool. Let me know how you see this one panning out. Blackpool had been in tremendous form, hadn't they? Really, really good form until the last 2 games. Only 1 point from the last 2 for Krissy. I know they'd had some injuries. Is that the end of the run, or is it a small outlier and Blackpool are going to trend back up? They're still in a damn good position for a promoted League One team at 10th in the table. So big picture things looking good for Blackpool. Swansea had also been trending up very nicely over a sort of probably 8 to 10 game sample size. I haven't got my numbers exactly there, but they also lost, didn't they, at Bournemouth heavily last time out, and they lost at Birmingham a few games before. God, I thought it was the last game. That only seems like 5 minutes ago. So I'm not quite sure how to call this, whether Swansea's form will sustain or Blackpool's will bounce back, or are Blackpool now going to regress to the mean and maybe drop in to the middle of the table. Tricky one. In that table, Blackpool have it by 2, 10th to 12th. In the form, Swansea look very smart. 3rd in the form table. Swansea, only the top two, Fulham and Bournemouth, outstrip Swansea in the form table. Blackpool are 8th in that table, though. So, in the words of Mick McCarthy, they're no mugs. And then, Swansea, the 8th best home team, and Blackpool are the 4th best away team in the league. Blackpool are good away from home. Neither side particularly score many. The XG has Blackpool in the bottom 6, though. So they've either been very efficient and finished well themselves or not faced good finishing. The XG can lead to a multitude of possible explanations. Let's see what you lot are saying. Alan Neal is wild as yes, good. Set play master as well. Ben saying new manager bounce. How much did that hurt? There was an element of sarcasm, John, in my new manager bounce, but yeah, there we go. But hey, I can play both sides of it, can't I? Right, what are we saying? OJ, after every international break, we've improved. I agree with that, actually. 2-1 home. Swans, 2 good sides. Desmond, draw for Charlie. Combs playing is 0-0. Yeah, what we got on the goals. Yeah, good shout, that, actually. 19 and 17. So between them, they've scored fewer goals than Fulham. But hey, it's probably most teams in the league if you add them together. 2-1 Swans. Warnock took Blackwell and Jepson with him. I wonder where they'll end up. Hopefully somewhere. We can't have Warnock go out like that. Peter, 1-1. Oh, what's got in with the comments? Sorry. There we go. It's working again. Jake is going for Blackpool. Another Jake's going for Swans. A couple of Desmonds in here. High scorer for Mark for Swans. Feeling says Sax Bend on Blackpool. Swans in a high scorer for Montree. Swans for David and Paddy. Swans and Will coming in there with a Blackpool. Steve, Swans and Ryan has gone for Blackpool. I'm going to go with Swansea on this one. Home. So I'll go against the league table one more time. I don't know what scoreline I'm going to go for, though. I've decided Swans. We said low scoring. Shall I plug in a 1-0 or shall I plug in a 2-1? Let's plug in a 2-1. Same odds for a 2-0 and a 2-1 there. Over on the Football 365 predictor. So Betfair will give you 7-1 for what I've suggested, which is a 2-1 win for the Swans. And that would facilitate a switch in the table, you would think, for those two. Let me just check my numbers on that. Yes, indeed, one would move above the other. Swans would move above Blackpool in that instance. Right, let's move on. And game number 10 of 12. And it is Andy Carroll's Reading. Reading versus Forest. Get your predictions in on this one. Reading, draw, or Forest. And we mentioned a few sides have already moved up a place. Reading have moved down several places because they've been deducted 6 points. I did a video on this yesterday, so I don't want to get too much into it. But Reading, 6-point deduction this season, suspended 6-point deduction for next season, pending that they comply with the business plan that's been set out by the EFL, which means the salary has to come down. There's all sorts of it on the videos from 21 million to 16 million. Check out the other video on that one. Reading versus Forest. And let me know what you think. How do Reading bounce back from the -6? Doesn't look like it would be a death sentence. Got a lot of quality. Will we see Mr. Andy Carroll after he signed for the Royals? Forest, little bit of a slip off the really, really good Steve Cooper form. Only 1 win in 4, but they did go into the international break with that win against Preston. Hefty one as well. 3-0 for the Forest. And you wonder whether Forest now, Cooper's ideas really will have had some time to get across. If indeed you think he's just had a new manager bounce. I'm not going to say it again. So in the table, Reading 19, Forest 13. But remember, Reading's actual position would be the same number of points as Forest were it not for the P&S deduction. In terms of form, Forest very good. 4th in the form table, Reading 19th. Homes and aways. Forest are the 3rd best away team in the league. Reading are the 14th best home team. Goals, not much in it. 22 versus 23 in Forest's favour. XG has Reading outperforming their position. We always say this about Reading, and they're technically very good finishing players. 22 versus 15 there in Nottingham Forest's favour. Not sure on this one. Not sure. Let's go to the chat first and see what you lot are saying on Reading versus Forest. Let's start with Colm. There, 2-1 Forest. OJ's playing the 0-0. Have I played my 0-0 yet? God, I need to play my 0-0. Maybe I'll save it to the end. I don't want to spoiler alert. Forest, 1-0 for Nat. Forest for Peter, 1-0. Forest to round off a miserable week for Reading. Forest, Reading, Forest, score draw. Forest. New manager bounce. There it is again. Forest, Reading, Forest. 1-1. This is Cooper's favourite ground. Yes, of course. That big Swansea win to get him into the playoffs at Forest's expense, actually. Down at Reading. I'm getting very confused now with all of these teams. Forest, Reading. Forest 2-1. Forest. Right, let me just click on all of these. Sorry if you do. That's a read, Alice. There's a bit of detail there. Interesting to see how Reading react after points deduction. Players should be back from injury. Halilovic, Hoylett, Rinomota, and more. Big ask for Carroll to start. Surely we'll see him off the bench. There we go. A few more here. Draw. Forest. Draw. Forest. There we go. I think we've done all of those. Up the ding. Lovely. What the hell's my prediction then? Well, all the numbers went in Forest's favour, didn't they? Reading just... I think it might be a draw. I think I might land on my proverbial fence and then argue that it's not sitting on the fence to predict a draw, if indeed you think a draw is going to happen. Go on then. Draw! That was a very high-pitched draw, wasn't it? There's not going to be many goals, is there? We can't fathom a 2-2. Oh, shall I do it? It's not going to be 0-0, is it? But I haven't played my 0-0. No, it's not going to be 0-0. 1-1. Go on. 1-1. Reading 1. Forest 1. You get 5-1 over on Betfair for that one. Reading 1. Forest 1. I might break my own rules and refuse to play my 0-0 card at some point in this show. Let's put it up there just so you can see it anyway. So we can see good old smiling Neil Warnock up there. Right. 2 to go. Keep your comments coming. By the way, remember to subscribe if you haven't already. You can support financially via Super Chat, Super Stickers, etc., etc. And hit the like on the video. Draws more people either right now on the stream or after the fact. And we are talking Hull versus Birmingham. Get your predictions in, guys. Hull, draw, or Birmingham. Hull, draw, or Birmingham. Hull still under due diligence, I think, for a possible takeover there. And they went into the international break with a win, didn't they? An unlikely win by their form, but a good win at Barnsley. They won 2-0, didn't they, Hull? The rest of the numbers, other than that, do not stack up well for Hull. And they do stack up well for Birmingham, who've been in really nice form with 10 points in 4 until they lost at home to Reading. And Jamari Clark's brace there, his first goals, I think, for Reading, both of those. Get your thoughts in. Hull, draw, Blues. Hull, draw, Blues. Now, these numbers don't work well for Hull, I have to say. The table obviously has Birmingham by 7. The form table has Birmingham by an absolute mile. Hull are 22nd and Birmingham are 5th in the form table. And also, Birmingham are the 6th best away team in the league. Hull are the 24th best home team, the worst team in the league at home. Are they even worse than Bristol City? Yeah, they are. Bristol City, the 22nd. So I wondered if I had that stat correct. In terms of goals, Hull are goal shy as well. Only 11 goals in 17 games, which is a particularly hopeless total. If you're way less than a goal per game, you're struggling to win games. Go figure. XG as well. Birmingham by 13. Birmingham 7th. Hull 20th. Let's see what you lot are saying in the chat on this one. Where should we jump in? There we go. I think Colm's always first. He's right organised. Gets his prediction in first. He's got already played the Joker, but fancies Hull. There we go. Would it be a Joker for Hull? What's the difference in the table? 22nd to 15th. No, you don't have to play Joker. That's fine on that one. Okay, Hull, Blues. Out comes the 0-0, the first one there. Blues, Hull, Blues, 0-0. Blues, draw. Blues, draw. A few 0-0s coming out here. Let's try and click on all of these. 1-1 on the base. We have a terrible record at Hull. Always want to hear about these bogey teams, guys. Blues, Hull with the Joker. Draw. Blues, Hull. Hull. I can't get past those terrible numbers for Hull. I've got my sheet here. Don't know if you can see it on the picture. I always circle the bad numbers in red. There's a lot of red on Hull. And obviously that means most of the sides down the bottom of the table will have some problems. But I'm going to go for Birmingham, I have to say. Away! I just don't fancy Hull to score. I really, really don't. So I think, do you know, I don't even think I need to plug in a 1-0. I think I can plug in a 2-0 here for Blues on this one. Fairly long odds, I have to say. 11-1 you will get on my prediction there for Blues to win 2-0 over at betfair.com. Of course, please gamble responsibly. You're all responsible people. Idiot, can't talk today. But I'm contractually obliged to say begambleaware.org whilst we work with our good friends at betfair.com. The lovely people at betfair.com, our partners. Last one, Preston versus Cardiff. Get your predictions in, please. I've left myself nowhere to go here because I haven't played my 0-0. But get me your predictions in, please. Preston, draw or Cardiff. Preston, draw or Cardiff. Another new manager in this one. Steve Morrison has got the job full time. Really like Steve Morrison as a player. When I used to watch Millwall fairly regularly in the 17-18 season. Thought he was a really good, clever. But you always tell players that have got no pace but play at a really high level. And smart cookie, Morrison. So good luck to him going up against Frankie McAvoy in his first game as full-on manager for Cardiff. And he did get a win last time out, didn't he? To beat Huddersfield, Cardiff. In terms of Preston in 16th, and they'd had a really nice run prior to losing last time out. They'd won 3 and 4, in fact, for a little surge up the table. Heavily beaten, though, at Forest. Most of the numbers, as you can imagine, do skew Preston's way. They're up in the table by 4, in the form table by 10. The homes and aways, Preston 11th best home team, Cardiff 17th best away team. In terms of goals, Cardiff don't get many, but their XG is actually all right. And the XG has Cardiff by 3, 13th and 16th. Nothing to write home about for either team. Now, I've very foolishly not played my 0-0 yet, so I'm actually going to go ahead of the chat, and we're going to see Big Dicey and Colin. I'm going to play my 0-0 for this one. Draw. So on the basis I haven't played it yet, out comes the 0-0. Not very scientific around here, is it? But we're going to put that in. I will have a look at your predictions for this one. Takeover bounce. I like that. I'm very responsibly. I don't know why I couldn't say that, Hamza. Foolhardy from me. Right, here's your 0-0. Says that he agrees with me. Preston 0-0, 0-0, 0-0. Preston 0-0. Draw. Preston via S-Housery, says Sexbend. Cardiff, another Morrow win. Morrow to bounce. You love to see it. So the new manager bounce can apply then after a caretaker is named. New manager bounce. You apply it to anything, can't we now? Preston, Cardiff, Cardiff, draw, Preston. Yes, of course you can play 2 0-0s. The minimum is 1. Steve can see Morrow saving Cardiff. Yeah, I think he might be quite good, actually. I don't know why. Draw. Someone rang the doorbell. Here or there? Draw. There we go. So a few agree with me. Let me just give you the odds from Betfair on it being 0-0 in my completely unscientific prediction. Some people think my predictions are unscientific at the best of time, but there we go. 7-1 you will get for Preston and Cardiff to be this weekend's 0-0. Hang around and we'll do a bit of Q&A. So get any questions in now. Please hit like if you're going to buzz off now before the short Q&A that we will do. And thank you for joining me. Please subscribe if you haven't already. We are so close to 20,000 subscribers. We're like 30 or 40 subscribers away now. Get us over 20,000. That would be a fine thing, a target that we've been looking at for a long, long time over here on the channel. Right, let's round up these predictions. And you need to do this as well on Football 365. So there you go. Have a quick look along the top there. You won't see it on the menu because I'm actually on the page next to Championship Predictor. And here are who I've got winning. I've got Luton over QPR, Blades over Cov. I've got my 0-0 on Preston and Cardiff. I've got Huddersfield and Baggies drawing. Bristol City and Blackburn. I've got Blackburn. I've got Fulham over Barnsley. Reading and Forest drawing. I've got Borough over Millwall. I've got Stoke over Peterborough. Swansea over Blackpool. Birmingham over Hull. And Bournemouth over Derby. And a £1 bet with Betfair on all of those outcomes would net you £17,596.28. Nice work if you can get it. Someone place the bet. I can't be bothered. I know what my predictions are like. Someone do it, but you have to share the money with me. Of course, you need to hit submit and then press confirm. And then your predictions will be locked out like that. And you're done. You're doomed. There is no turning back after you've done that. Right, let's do some Q&A. Any questions, anybody? That's tremendous, David. Will there be a band argument tonight? Well, what you need to understand, David, is that this was a cover band that I was in. So as long as we got paid, there was not much arguing. I have to say, in this band that I'm meeting up with, I had no clue what I was doing in this band. I was like this wet behind the ears. I'd never really played. So they were kind of my mentors. But no, there won't be a band argument. It might be quite hard for anyone to get a word in edgewise. Keep your questions coming. Sorry, I missed that. TJ, did I see the Portugal-Serbia match? I did not. I had, and you'll be pleased to hear, because a lot of people who think I work too hard and come on here with big bags under my eyes will be pleased to hear that in the international break, I didn't watch any football. We went down and saw my parents. Then we went and saw Shaylee's parents and stayed over for the day down south as well. We went and saw some friends on Sunday as well. So I've had a very nice break, put it that way. So no, I didn't see Mitro in the Portugal-Serbia match. JC, can you see Wilder turning Borough's fortunes around and getting a playoff spot? Oh, I don't know, JC. And the more specific question is, can Wilder come straight back in and be anywhere near as good as he was before the relegation? If yes, then possibly. And we've said so many times on the channel, the door is open, isn't it? Below the three parachute teams who are performing up the top there, below those, much of a muchness. Coventry are in there on their really good home form, and then maybe someone like Borough could get in. So if Wilder can bounce back from the disappointment of losing his dream job and getting relegated in the Premier League, then yeah, I could see it. But easier said than done. Jake, Jake, do I have to talk about FFP again? I feel that EFL enforcing rules can't be a bad thing. I get it's only half problem with parachute payments around. Question is financial disparity a solvable problem at all? Well, Jake, look, a very sensibly worded question, and you haven't got all emotional about it like some people do. Hopefully it is. And when we talk about financial disparity and parachute payments, we're not just whining. I promise we're perfectly happy for a team that finishes higher up the pyramid to be able to have and spend more money than the team that finished lower down. Fine. We get that. And we're totally happy for, within reason, a club that makes more money to spend more money, and maybe a club that has a wealthy owner, if it's leveraged in bond or whatever, to be able to, spend money. We just don't want these ridiculous disparities that with the FFP and the P&S rulings does seem to make it very, very hard. And look, I know people are very tribal about this, but when you look at it now, Reading, Sheffield Wednesday, Derby have all been in the playoff final. When were Sheffield Wednesday in the playoff final? Where's my list up there? 15-16. All of those three clubs have rolled the dice, tried to compete without parachute payments. Reading did have them, I do accept that. And they've tried since without. And look where they all are now, in lots and lots of bother. And yes, okay, there's been brilliant promotions from Huddersfield in 16-17. Norwich, to a point, because they had parachute payments before and managed to... The promotion was brilliant, but, they weren't paupers, were they? Sheffield United was brilliant, wasn't it? I'll give them that. Leeds was brilliant, but again, Leeds, it's a big club, isn't it? Different kettle of fish. Different kettle of fish with Bielsa as well. But, this is where we're left now. So hopefully it is solvable. Quite how, I've got no idea. But I think, levering out that broadcast income a bit more evenly would be a fair start, wouldn't it? Or at least looking at it. So I agree. John, now the Derby and Reading FFP saga is done and dusted. Who's next on the naughty step? I don't know, but I'm not sure it's going to be this season. The names that keep coming up are Forest, who seem to spend at a Reading level. I don't know. I'd need to look at the numbers. And the other name that come up recently is Cardiff. A lot of people telling me, Ben, Cardiff are broke. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, Cardiff have just had the parachute payments, and hopefully they've run well, and that can mitigate any iceberg, etc. Charlie, do you think Carroll coming in from save us from relegation? I don't think Reading will go down, but I don't think it will be because Andy Carroll comes in and scores 10 goals between now and the rest of the season. I think the big problem for Reading really now is with the, I forget what it's called, the approved decision is what it's called. I think Reading might have to sell some players in January. So they might have to cash in on Swift, whose contract is up. They might have to... I think there's a few contracts up, and I don't know with the wage cuts how they're going to re-sign them. So maybe you're right, Charlie. Maybe there will be a second half of the season drop-off for Reading. When I see teams down towards the bottom, I just think Reading have better players, in their squad. And hey, I'm talking about Swift and Laurent and Ejaria, Zhao, Maite. But yeah, maybe some of those will be sold. Right, let's move on. Could I see more clubs charged with FFP now? Yes. Yeah, maybe not this season, but I think, we're going to get a couple each season. Who will be the next Championship manager to go? I think we've had a bit of a sort out now, Rob. And Darren Ferguson, who some people might have thought might have been one in trouble, has just signed a new contract. Maybe the one most at risk now would be either Paunovic at Reading. Rooney could walk, although it doesn't look like he's going to. And if you get a Hull takeover, then McCann at Hull. So it could be one of those. When was my first Ipswich game, Mr. Testosterone? Many, many years ago. And it was a 0-0 against Wolves. And I think we're talking early 90s there. The first one with goals in, we lost 2-1 at home to Oldham, which is a very good synchronicity because Ipswich has beat Oldham 2-1 in the FA Cup this week. Ash, have I heard about the Dara Roche? He said, no, I haven't. DM me about that. Tell me more about that. Ewan, did Sunderland get 90 points in a championship season, not go automatically? Yes, they did. And that is indeed a record. I think, who was close? Brighton got a silly high total, didn't they? Did they get 90? No. Sunderland is definitely the record. In 97, 98, got 90. And if you think they were unlucky there, then they lost the playoff final on 4-4 after extra time, 7-6 on penalties. So there we go. I think I'll cover next manager getting sacked. Opinions on West Ham winning the Premier League. Obviously, I'd love to see it because we love an underdog, but unlikely, I think, Jake, whilst Mr. Guardiola, Mr. Tuchel and Mr. Klopp are around. David, how was the London gig? Yes, I did. I was down in swanky London in Mayfair. And I met Anton de Beek from Strictly, and he was actually very nice. I know people get very binary about when they meet people off the telly, but he had a little bit of banter with him as we were sort of both doing our setups and sound checks, etc. But it was good. I find it hard getting back at 2:30 a.m. and the congestion charge, paying the congestion charge, that was the worst nightmare. I had one of those lovely situations where it's like, set up password, blah, blah, blah. Type in your customer ID. I don't know my customer ID. You haven't told me. And then you go back in, reset password. What's your customer ID? I don't know my customer ID. Anyway, moving on. Jack, do you think Jed Wallace will leave or stay? Is his contract up, Jack, at the end of the season? Or is there another year's? I think there's another year's option on Wallace, isn't there? What club? I don't know whether he's ready for the Premier League yet, is he? So I think you would think a top-end championship team, which is then we're looking at parachute teams who can pay a decent salary, I think Jed Wallace would deserve. I've got a sneaking suspicion he might re-sign. I don't know. I'm sure the new Millwall needs a new wage ceiling with that. Sax Ben, what if parachute money was only used to cover wages and other payments for pre-existing contracts? Yeah, that's a suggestion that's come up before. That and this goes into something Andy Holt said. Who does he own? Accrington owner. He said the big problem with FFP is that it's done retroactively. So you're going back into the past. So yeah, maybe a way forward with parachute payments to a certain extent is you have to set it out in the budget ahead of time, and you have to say, right, this money goes to pay this player, this player, this player, this player. We've spent it and everything else goes towards FFP. The problem is just intrinsically, accountants are clever. And when a big load of money goes into one club and not the other, they'll still find a way of leveraging the advantage. But we've heard all sorts of different ideas. We'll see what they come up with in the long term. Gaza, did I see the Pitsy player get? I did. Yes. Don't fire fireworks around. Who's been my biggest surprise player? Oh God, that's a good question, Monty. I have to plead the fifth on that one. Biggest surprise player. Pass. Put some suggestions in the comment. Ben, why are the points deductions so erratic? I don't think they are, Cole. I think if you read all of the wordings, I think there is a method through the madness through all of them. And look, we're talking about the difference between 6 points and 9 points, aren't we? Sheffield Wednesday got 6. Reading have got 6, but 6 suspended. And Reading do look like, of all the teams, and I know Birmingham played ball, Reading look like the team that's played ball the most and colluded with the EFL on this. So maybe that's the lesson with, the likes of Derby, who thought tooth and nail for, that they weren't guilty. And if you think you're not guilty, fight. But I think, as I was taught, when you get pulled over driving, hands on the wheel, yes, sir, no, sir, 3 bags full, sir. And you're probably going to get off with a lighter punishment, aren't you? So, Stephen, is Carroll 2-month Reading contract clutching at straws? No, I don't think it is. I think they got injuries to Maite and Zhao. And look, if you can get a tune out of him, Pushgas isn't doing it. They've got some youngsters, but no, I think it makes some sense. Right, I'll quickly rattle through these. Thank you. Great questions. Do you think Steve Bruce would take an EFL manager job? Yes, and I would very much like to see him back. A poor guy did not look well at the end of Newcastle. And go and have a rest, Steve Bruce, and I'm sure he's got plenty to offer another club. QPR forever. Will Willock, Chair, and Dickey be QPR players after January? Yes, I think they all will. Actually, I think they'll all last until the end of the season. I think QPR are in a strong position. I think the contracts have been well written. And I think where they are in the league will sort of encourage them to stay. Which player from the past would you love to watch play again live? God, there's 2 or 3. And I'll parlay this into a conversation about the best players I've seen play. Obviously, I saw for 10 minutes the original Ronaldo play for Inter against Ipswich in the UEFA Cup, but he was just coming back from an injury. Paolo Di Canio was a great watch as well. But yeah, too many to name. Greatest championship team ever. It's hard to go away from Reading 2006, isn't it? Looking at throwing Sunderland on my acca, Ben. I don't trust your lot. I would avoid that like the plague, that game. That could go either way. We're all dumb. My advice there would be not to get involved in that. But if you're going to, make sure it's with betfair.com. Bournemouth, question mark. You didn't mention Bournemouth. I've got no idea what you're talking about, Mark. If you're talking about the preview show, the prediction show, you need to spool back because I very much did mention Bournemouth and they were first. O'Shea got fined £7.5 and a 3-match ban for pushing a steward. Deary me. God, I remember being at that Birmingham Villa game. And wasn't it one of the stewards shoved one of the players, actually? I was sat right there. There we go. Right. Let's move on and say thank you, everybody. That has been the preview and predictions show. Thank you as ever to betfair.com and Football365. Get involved on the Football365 Predict a Game and go and have a little tipple on betfair.com. If you do, please gamble responsibly. BeGambleAware.org. Blah, blah, blah. You know the deal by here. Thank you once again to our fan sponsors, the Donovan brothers, who sponsor in memory of their father, Dennis, and brother, Mike. You can see them in the picture there. Both sorely missed and cheering on Millwall from above. Great way to support. They did so on Patreon. You can do the same if you wish. But please hit that subscribe button before we go. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Check out my writing on Football365.com tomorrow. And we will be back maybe for QPR Luton if I'm back in time tomorrow. Possibly not. But look, just keep in touch. Plenty of content coming up on the channel. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I'll put your appreciation and comments in the advert and say a lovely big over and out. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button and to be notified every time we upload. Ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.